I'm joined now by Zainish Hussain, who lives in Kherson with his family. Hussain, thank you so much for talking to us this evening. What's the situation where you are now?
Okay, the city is pretty silent right now, but since I saw the tanks outside this morning, the Russian military forces, I haven't seen anything from the Ukrainian organizations after that. I mean, no police, there is no Ukrainian military here. So I believe that the city is in 100% in Ukrainian Russian control, actually. And then I saw this post from the city administration, the mayor of the city, this evening, that they're negotiating. And in his post, he's mentioning that he's not getting any help from the Ukrainian government. And then he put some conditions like the curfew hours, for example. You're not supposed to go out after 6 o'clock. You cannot have a gathering of more than 3 people together. You are supposed to drive at the minimal speed. So life is getting normal a bit that way, but the city is definitely under Russian control. There is no Ukrainian control here. That's all.
So when you look outside, what do you see?
So far, there is nothing, but occasionally you see the Russian patrolling cars. That's twice an hour approximately. Like you will, this routine. You will see a truck or a jeep, and they're on patrolling. Like there were tanks this morning, but it's not that way. I mean, they're just controlling the entry and exit points now, and the occasional patrolling by the Russian cars. There are no.
Do you hear anything, Hussain?
It's pin drop silent, and that's what makes us worried, because usually when there is silence, there is something bad is going to happen. Usually, I mean, looking at the last 1 week.
So you think, as I was saying, you know, throughout the day and this evening, even now in the last couple of minutes, we've had these conflicting reports over who controls the city. Who do you think controls it?
I think Ukraine has no control over the city. This is 100% under Russian control. I'm very sure about that.
Okay, so just explain to us, you live there with your wife and your child. What is it like for you?
It's terrifying. I mean, having a 3 years old daughter who is locked up, and you're just trying to keep her away from this, but it's kind of hard. I mean, keeping her busy with the cartoons and putting earphones, just that she does not hear the noises that are coming from outside. And this war has been pretty dramatic, because we have been told from last couple of months that there will be no war and we should not worry and we don't need to panic. But things dramatically changed. I mean, the day it all started, I slept, I had plans for the next day. We had no idea this is going to happen. And then when I woke up in the morning, everything was upside down, obviously. And then 4 or 5 days it was like that, but we didn't see anything with our eyes. We were hearing loud bangs just, from a far distance, like. But today, when I woke up with the loud bangs outside, I just opened up my window and I saw like the tanks that are literally standing 10 meters away from my house. And there's soldiers, they're firing warning shots, just telling civilians to go back in. And there are people running on the street. It was horrifying. And definitely being here with the family, this is one of the most horrifying experiences that I have, actually.
Do you have supplies?
It is a huge issue. I mean, the supplies itself. I have mentioned that before on my social media, actually, that the banks, they don't have cash anymore. And the banks are not trusted by the couple of small businesses, I mean, the small stores that are open. The shelves are empty. There are hundreds of people standing in the queue if you want to buy something. And you don't have a choice anymore. Like, you will just go there, you'll grab the first thing that you will see. And even based upon that, like, I have supplies for like next 24 hours maximum. And if the city doesn't open, if the life doesn't get normal here, I have no idea what I'm going to do, actually.
Do you have food in your flat?
That's for next 24 hours. And me and my wife, we have been, water fasting so that our daughter have enough.
Just explain what that means to us, Hussain.
I mean, we are not eating a lot, just we keep ourselves hydrated with a lot of water, and we're leaving maximum for the daughter so that she can eat that. Because we're not sure, actually. I mean, I went out for an hour this afternoon, actually, so that looking for some groceries. Couldn't find much, actually, just a bit of...
So what was that like? Can you just explain what that was like to us when you walked out onto the streets of the city? What was open? Who was around? What did you see?
Okay, there were a couple of hours when there was no military outside, and the civilians were walking out a bit. That's like in the early afternoon hours. Everything was closed actually. Supermarkets, there are the large chain stores here like ATB and Fresh, they were closed. The drugstores, they were closed. And there were just a couple of small stores that were open. They were crowded, like hundreds of people in there. The shelves were empty. They do not accept any bank cards. Cash is a problem in the city, actually. The prices have tripled down, I will say. And I understand that these small businesses, they do not have access to the supplies themselves. So, because the city is closed completely. It was horrifying. It's just like, it's not the same city that I have lived like for 1.5 years. It's different.
And the Russians, you said that you saw Russians on the tanks. Were they telling the civilians anything? Were they giving any directions? Was there any communication?
So they just entered the street and they started firing these warning shots with their guns, just pointing towards the sky. And there was more like a warning, like get inside to your houses or we're going to shoot you. And when this happened, the civilians were running. The streets were empty within minutes, actually. Like there was no one in the street. And they just stayed there for an hour or two. And then the regular patrols. This is how it has been.
At any point, it's 7 days in now, this invasion, at any point did you want to leave your city and leave the country?
As I said, like the war began as a complete, I will say, like, we were not expecting this to happen. And for the next couple of days, we heard these sounds from a distance, and it looked like we are not seeing the war with our eyes. It was like something is happening at a distance, and maybe they will stop. Maybe they will, the Ukrainians will fight and they won't enter the city. But when I saw the tanks this morning, that was like a sticking point. Like I can't take this anymore. I realized that it is over. Like no one is going to come rescue us here, and I think it's the right moment to leave. Yeah.
Okay, Hussein, men between 18 and 60, they're not allowed over the borders, obviously, because of conscription. We've seen so many people, so many civilians take up arms and fight the invading forces. Have you wanted to do that? Have you tried to do that? Have people in your city tried to do that?
There was a bit of difference. We saw what people are doing in Kyiv. The civilians, they are armed there and they're trying to protect their city. And we had this inspiration, like it's a sort of thing that motivates you to go. But myself, a lot of my friends contacted the new military units. We were told that there are no weapons for us because they're waiting for the weapons from the Kyiv and from the West. So the civilians, that's why there was no retaliation from the civilians when the Russian military entered inside the city, because we were not given any weapons. We were not made ready for this. Just like the residents of Kyiv, they are being prepared for this. And even in the Kharkiv, I have seen that. But here it's a different story. We were not ready at all. We don't have weapons. No one paid attention, actually. We have been told at the last day that no one is going to enter the city. You're going to win this war. But it was sort of untrue, yeah.
Okay, just very briefly, Hussein, how are you going to try and get out?
That's another issue. The first thing is that the Russians are headed to the Mykolaiv, which is a city close to like almost 30, 40 kilometers from here. But it's pretty narrow road. Like you don't have any other choice. You have to pass through a road, and there are Russians over there. And there are I don't know if there are rumors or there have been reports over the social media that people are getting shot who are trying to leave. And on top of that, leaving the city, they control the entry and exit points. Then no one is willing to drive us to the nearest border will take us maybe 18 to 24 hours. No one is willing to drive, and those who are willing to drive, they're asking for like $5,000 to $7,000 for that. On a normal day, I will not even pay $500 for this ride. I have been contacted by a lot of people on social media. Like someone has family stuck there. There is a young man, Warren, who is based in Netherlands. He wants to get his mother-in-law out. She's, I think, 54 years old woman. She's alone in the city. So there are a lot of people. From India. They want my help with the evacuation process. So we are trying to
Yeah.
organize a small group actually, so that we can
Okay.
leave to feel that that might be safe for us. Yeah.